California's Gold is produced in association with KCET Los Angeles and is seen statewide on California Public Television. This series is endorsed by the California Teachers Association, the California School Boards Association, and the California Library Association.
Whenever our nation wants a glimpse of the future, it looks to California, a place that's always embraced the new. As a company founded in California, we at Chevron believe the same. So today we're in our home state, harnessing the sun, developing a new generation of fuels. We've been here more than 125 years, and we're looking ahead and seeing what's possible. This is the power of human energy, Chevron.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Huell Hauser, and there's an interesting story about how I got my name. You see, my father's name was Harold. My mother's name was Jewel. And they got together and decided that they were going to combine the names of Harold and Jewel and name me Huell. I think that's a great story behind how I got my name. But of course, everybody has a great story about how they got their name. And here in California, there are other interesting names as well. Instead of just people, what about places, rivers, counties, mountain ranges, bridges, communities, especially gold rush communities? And that's what this adventure is all about. We've come to gold country up here in Yuba County, and we're going to visit two honest-to-goodness gold rush towns that have great historic and very interesting names. Now, the first one you're going to recognize right away because we use it all the time. The second town has a name that is much more obscure, but very interesting. So here we go. We're off in search of California's gold up here in gold country. Okay, our adventure begins, and here we are, our first community. In fact, we are in the downtown area of the first community we're going to visit. Here we are, right here. Boy, you could drive right through this place. This is about all we could find in the whole town, and here to tell us about it, introduce yourself to everybody.
My name is Lane Parker.
Okay, now Lane knows about this place because now we can kind of give it away. This is kind of dramatic because don't you think most people have used this word, have said this word before?
Many people have said this word before.
All right, what word are we talking about? Where are we right now?
Huell, we're in Timbuctoo.
Timbuctoo, California. There really is such a place as Timbuctoo.
There is, or there was.
Yeah, because this is all that's left.
Exactly. This is actually pretty much the first building that was ever built of brick. In Timbuktu in 1855. And
1855?
Right, and its main purpose, it was the Wells Fargo office, so they would house the gold there, and they needed something sturdy to do that. So 1855 this was built, and then over the years it was also a general store where miners would go get their provisions and everything, and then it later became a museum when it was restored.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about why Timbuktu was here in the first place. This was a mining community. This was gold country up here, wasn't it?
It kind of the heart of, I think, the heart of the northern mines. This is where the hydraulicking really came into its own when hydraulicking started. So yeah, this is right in the middle.
I've seen lots of old pictures made in the 1800s of downtown, but we're literally in downtown because this was kind of the heart and soul of downtown Timbuktu, wasn't it?
Exactly. This is, the houses, about maybe 1,000 people lived here when in its heyday. And then the houses were scattered kind of up in the hills and off, down that way and a little bit back that way. This was Main Street of Timbuktu. They had a theater here. They had bakeries. This was the Wells Fargo and General Store. This is downtown Timbuktu.
So, well, let's recreate this picture. Come on up here with me. I've seen these wonderful pictures. It was a full-on town.
Right.
If we'd been standing where? Right up here? Is this where all those pictures were made looking downtown?
Exactly, exactly. Kind of just up the hill there. This has probably been graded a little bit since then, but just up the hill there was the livery stable up right up where the kind of the tractor is, right around that area. A bakery. Then there were just other small shops. I think they had some shoe shops. On one side was the theater, an 800-seat theater with a brick basement. And then you had the Wells Fargo office. A post office was on the other side of this little street.
The post office for Timbuctoo. Now, how did Timbuctoo, I've always heard people say Timbuctoo. How did it get its name?
Well, I think it does have something to do, I think, with that idea that we have now of Timbuktu, a faraway place. And
we've arrived at Timbuktu,
exactly,
out in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly, and yes, and the big story was when the first white miners came in the early days of the gold rush, they approached this ravine, and there was already an African-American miner working alone, and that made them think of the connection of that ancient city in Mali, in Africa, of the city of gold, Timbuktu, and so the name, they kind of started referring to it ever since.
So it could have had two reasons for being named Timbuktu. One was the African connection with the city in Africa, and the fact that there was an African-American miner here when they discovered it, and also you were in the middle of nowhere. You were in Timbuktu.
Exactly. They coming from Marysville, and that would have taken a while, and just coming up here to the foothills with nobody else around, they were going to Timbuktu.
Now, this is exciting. I've never met somebody before who owns a whole town. But you own it, don't you? Introduce yourself to everybody.
Okay, I'm Jim Aschenbrenner, and I bought it in 1980.
The whole town?
The whole town, 121 acres.
But there was nothing here except this building, and I've seen pictures. This building, even in the 1980s, was still standing, wasn't it?
About 1985, there was a fire and it burned down. It's been decaying on since then. I had the thoughts that I would rebuild it, and one guy can't do too much.
At least it's preserved right here. You've got a big fence around the property because you said people were stealing bricks, taking your bricks from your town.
Yes, they did. So I said it'll take me about a minute and a half to get my shotgun. You put them down.
So he left the bricks.
He left the bricks.
Well, this was probably one of the most historic buildings anywhere in this part of California.
That's true.
Do people ever come by looking for Timbuktu?
All the time. They're looky-loos.
Are they looking for Timbuktu? They see the name.
They are.
Is it on the map?
If you got a good map.
Come on in here. Wait, is it on the map? Is it technically? I forgot to look before we got here.
Yeah, it is.
It says Timbuktu.
Yeah, it does. Some of the maps are more like gold country maps, and it shows that it was a gold mining town. And then some, depending on the map, some maps it will say it's on there. When
they drive up, what are they expecting to see? What do you think they're here for?
Well, people like historic monuments, and they look and
do they want to have their picture made in front of?
Yeah, they say take my picture, and they'll grab a little rock or something as a memento.
Say they have something from Timbuktu.
Yeah,
because it is a name unlike any other.
Right. Yeah, there's, the gold towns always, a lot of people like to give those names back then, Rough and Ready, and these kind of exciting names, but I think the name Timbuktu has really lasted because of that idea that it's a faraway place, and it kind of sounds exotic. It's not, it's a little bit different than the fancy names that they get.
Do you think someday this will ever be rebuilt? This has got to be one of the most historic structures anywhere around.
Right.
This should be a park.
Yes, thank you. It could be. I think that it's possible that it could be rebuilt, but they've tried in the past refurbishing and efforts, and this seems to be the fate of it so far.
Yeah, and you can testify it's not easy to rebuild something like this.
That's true.
What's left of the old Wells Fargo building is still here. Who knows? Timbuktu just might rise back up out of the ashes.
It could.
I hope it will.
We're doing this adventure by chapters. We've now left downtown Timbuktu and come to this very historic place. And Brian, this is, boy, this just kind of takes your breath away by the size and the scope of it. And this is not natural, is it?
No, it's not. If you can imagine the top of these cliffs flowing down across the bend, this was all one big gentle mountain, and now it's half of a mountain.
Now, why is it just half a mountain? Why does it look this way today?
Well, if you'll notice, you can see cobble rock going all the way from the top of the mountain down into the valley floor. That was all the Pleistocene bed of the Yuba River. The Yuba River flowed with a greater force than the Colorado River, made a large bend here, flowed down through Timbuktu, and dropped all its gold right at the base of the hill.
So this is where they found the gold, and they did it not by, I had this idyllic picture of miners with little pans by the river, by the creeks, there in the ravines. They did it by what you call hydraulic mining. They were blasting the side of this mountain away.
They would go in and dig tunnels into the horizontal shafts at the base of the mountain, dynamite it, hopefully get out in time. A section of mountain would settle, then they'd blast it with water. They came down with a tremendous force off the top of this 300-foot cliff and blow all the material down through tunnels. There's tunnels all the way along this valley.
Wow.
Where they blew all the rock and gravel down and captured the finds and the gold in the tunnels.
How much gold did they blast out of here?
This was probably the richest hydraulic mine in the state of California.
In the entire state of California.
That's correct.
Okay, now's when things really get interesting, because we've left that big old abandoned hydraulic gold mine. We've left the deserted little gold rush town of Timbuktu, and right next to the hydraulic mine and to Timbuktu is, here it says it right here, historical landmark number 321, the little gold rush town of Smartville. And to get there, we go down Smartville Road just about a mile. That's where we're going right now, but there's more to this story. Believe me, there is more to Smartville than meets the eye. A lot more. Okay, we have arrived in downtown Smartville, and we have been met by a whole delegation of Smartvillians, including, your name, sir, is?
Kit Burton.
Well, there's a lot of activity in town today.
Is.
There goes a motorcycle.
It's the only motorcycle today.
You live here in this town.
Yes.
And we're standing in front of this beautiful old church, which itself has a lot of history to it.
Yes, it's an amazing building. It's the centerpiece of town. The town was composed mostly of Irish miners, and at one time there were 800 parishioners that worshiped in this building.
In this church?
Yes.
Even after being in the saloons on Saturday night?
That's correct.
Well, that's even more reason to come to church on Sunday morning, right?
That's right.
So this is the original church.
It's not really the original. The original burned down in 1870, and it was rebuilt the next year. This
has been here since 1871.
Yes, it has.
And is the town restoring it? What's happening to it here?
We have a nonprofit corporation that is in the process of restoring the building.
What do you want to do with it? What are your dreams?
It's to be used as a community center. The Sacramento Diocese deeded the church and the land to us for use as a community center.
Well, good luck. Now, we're standing right in the middle of the downtown street. There's what is this building down? Is this a house right next door?
It is now, but it used to be a general store. I think at one time it was offices for the mining company.
So this really was a hustle, bustle mining community.
Maybe 4,000 people at one time.
What happened to all of them?
Well,
Where'd they go?
The Sawyer Act outlawed hydraulic mining, and there was
That's what you were talking about.
No more work to be done.
So as soon as they outlawed the hydraulic mining, all the miners left, and the towns, Timbuktu and Smartville, kind of shriveled up, and this is all that's left.
That's all that's left. The people that didn't want to leave, they found another way to make a living.
But you have a controversy here, and boy, see, the media likes controversy. We like to find controversy. There's controversy here. Introduce yourself to everybody.
I'm Kathy Smith.
You co-wrote the book on Timbuktu and Smartville with, wait a minute, what'd you say?
Smartsville.
It's Smartville.
No, it's Smartsville.
No, we stood outside on the highway and it said historical landmark number whatever, Smartville.
Well, if you come here and you say Smartville, they'll know you're not from here. You're a foreigner. Because
they're nodding.
yeah. If
What's
you
the story?
Well,
we kind of knew a little bit about the story, but let's tell the story because this is a great California story.
Well, it started out as Smartsville. It was named after James Smart, who built the hotel up the hill here, and that was the beginnings of this town.
It was known as Smarts with an S, S-M-A-R-T-S-ville.
Right. That's what it was called.
Well, what happened to the S?
Well, in 1909, the post office was streamlining post office names, and they made a rule that town names couldn't be plural. So if his name had been Mr. Smarts, they would have let it stay Smartsville, but his name was Mr. Smart, so they changed it to Smartville.
They took the S away.
They did.
And this was after it had been Smartsville for 30 or 40 years.
Well, longer than that, yeah.
They made it Smartville.
Yeah, and so the people that lived here never called it Smartville. They always called it Smartsville.
They always kept the S.
Yes, they did.
Even though according to all the road signs, and we saw them coming into town, it says Smartville.
Correct.
The city limit sign, the official sign, says Smartville. So officially it was Smartville, but the residents all these years kept the S.
Yes, that's right. And throughout the years, there was always someone trying to get the post office to change it back.
Get the S back.
Yes, they tried several times to no avail.
How do you get an S back when you've lost it?
Well, we found out how you get it back. After I wrote the book, I thought, now, you know, there has got to be a way to get the S back. So I was online Googling, and I found the U.S. Board of Geographic Names, and I wrote to them, and 5 minutes later they emailed me back and said, well, yes, you know, there is a way you can get your S back. And
you
so,
can petition.
Yes, we petitioned.
And what was the name of this commission?
The U.S. Board on Geographic Names.
Seems like a lot of bureaucrats to me.
Yeah, sounds that way, huh? But they were very nice.
Nice bureaucrats.
They were very helpful, and they helped us through the process, and we actually got our S back.
So now, when did you get the S back? Just this year, 2008?
Yes. It was almost 100 years. Because it was 1909 and it's 2008.
1909, they lost the S officially.
Right.
2008, they officially got it back.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's
We
why
got it back.
Yeah,
you got
We
it
got
back.
it back. Right.
That's what this is. The S. You've got an S. Welcome to Smartsville on your sign over there. There are signs that say Smartsville all over town, so you never took the S away.
No, never left town. Only in the minds of the federal government.
What does it say on the map?
It says Smartville, unfortunately.
Smartville. So you've got to change the map.
Yep, they'll be changing that back.
You've got to change the city limit sign.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? People in town have always called it that.
No, the fire department has the S, so does the cemetery.
The cemetery has S on it.
Always has.
This old store right here, its sign up there has the S in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is a stubborn group of people here.
Yes.
They kept the S all along.
They did.
No question about it, it's a big deal for Smartsville to get its S back. How big a deal is it? Look at this. The whole town is throwing a party. There's dancing, there's singing, there's food, there's music. All of this in celebration of the fact that Smartsville has its S back. This is such a big deal that we've come back to Smartsville after being here a couple of weeks ago just to attend this party. The question is, how big a deal is this really that Smartsville is getting its S back?
It's a really big deal.
It really is, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Well, how do people feel about it?
Well, we feel like we got part of our history back. We got our S back.
Yeah.
They never gave up on this part of California, and the people that live here love it, and we like having it recognized and remembered.
You know, most people, though, don't know much about this area.
You're standing right in the big part of the gold field. This is where it happened. The Yuba River brought all the gold down. Everybody built around it, and when it was over, a lot of people just got up and left. But the people that love this area, they stayed here.
I've lived here since the mid-'60s, and I've always used the S.
So you never went by Smartville?
No, and I corrected everybody that tried to tell me there wasn't an S in the middle of it.
But wait a minute, legally though, it was Smartville. It was not Smartsville.
Well, that's right, but I didn't agree with it.
So you just always, nothing's changing for you. It's always been Smartsville.
But now I'm legal.
Now, you all are fairly newcomers to Smartsville, aren't you?
We are.
So when you got here, you didn't really know about all this controversy, did you?
No. We bought our land about 8 years ago, and we're just building our home now.
And how did you find out about it?
Well, while we were having cocktails with our neighbors, we got into a debate on whether it's Smartville or Smartsville.
A debate? And how did that debate go?
Half of us said it was Smartville, and half said it was Smartsville. So now we stand corrected, and we all know it's Smartsville.
Smartsville, no questions asked.
That's it.
Two people from Mooney Flats. I'm from Mooney Flats. You're from?
Timbuctoo.
Timbuktu. But you're all here to help the people of Smartsville celebrate, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. Not only to help
we
them,
all
but
have,
we are celebrating.
Yeah, well, how big a day is it?
We all have Smartsville addresses in the PO, so we use the S too.
Had you ever dropped the S?
Never. Not once.
So you're hard-headed.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
And Smartsville has been Smartsville since I've been here. Yeah. I've been here over 30 years.
But now legally.
Legally.
Absolutely.
What a day it was.
Finally, the world has gotten wise.
You got your ass back.
Yeah. Right.
It's always been there. They just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Sandra is cutting the cake. Here you go, Sandra. Cut into it. Smartsville's S is officially back. It says it right on the cake.
It's really a proud day.
Is anybody ever going to take that S away from you again?
Not without a fight.
Okay, we're ending things up. We've all walked from downtown Smartsville here to Highway 20, and look over here. We got almost the whole town here. Here's the sign from Caltrans. They're a little late sometimes. It takes them a while to get with the program, but that's okay because the good people of Smartsville are very independent and they take things into their own hands. So right here at this moment, they're going to officially return the S to Smartsville. There it goes. There goes the S. After 100 years, the S is back in Smartsville, and the good people of Timbuktu and Smartsville are very much a part of California's gold. Give us a cheer. Yay! The S is back. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell Hauser, and there you have it, our visit to these two historic, colorful, very interesting California gold rush towns of Timbuktu and Smartsville. Now, if you'd like to go on this adventure again, share it with family or friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library. It's available on video cassette and on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away. And remember, that's Smartsville with an S.
Whenever our nation wants a glimpse of the future, it looks to California, a place that's always embraced the new. As a company founded in California, we at Chevron believe the same. So today we're in our home state, harnessing the sun, developing a new generation of fuels. We've been here more than 125 years, and we're looking ahead and seeing what's possible. This is the power of human energy, Chevron.